All right, this is lecture 3 in our Revolutions in Russia and Asia section. This one is entitled Imperial China Collapses. So we looked at Russia and then what happened in Russia that caused them to remove themselves from World War I and have their government be overthrown and changed. We looked at totalitarianism as a case study under Joseph Stalin. And today we're going to look at changes that are going on in China. Right, after imperialism, which was a couple units ago, China was changed because Europeans kind of forced them to change and caused their government to fall. So there was just these, what should China do going forward? They sort of resisted Western influence because they have this rich cultural tradition that goes back thousands of years. But then also, that doesn't necessarily keep them equal with the rest of the world going forward. So this is the dilemma here. Should China follow their traditions or should they modernize is the debate. Traditions, modernization. Wait, no. All right, this was also a negotiation during imperialism, Treaty of Nanking. This was because of the Opium Wars. You might remember that being introduced before. That's how Europeans got a trade advantage with the Chinese. That led to a war, which led to the fall of the last Chinese dynasty and brought China to where it is right now. They developed a new Western-style government. And as you can see here between the styles, obviously this is a different, more Chinese style of dress, and this is a more Western style of dress. So this new government embraced more Western principles. So this is our leader of the new government after the fall of the last dynasty, and he's the leader of this first government. It's a democratic nationalist government. I'm not even going to say it. I think I'd be more respectful to Chinese culture by not trying to say it. But this is the first leader of the Western government. Not every Chinese person is happy with this new government. This government is built on some principles of nationalism, democracy, and economic security. So when you identify principles like this is how you get evaluated as a leader. So some Chinese people felt like this government was not doing a good job, particularly with the economic security portion of their responsibilities. So this happened, and then World War I breaks out. And China entered World War I in hopes that they would gain back territory that they had lost to the Japanese. Turns out after World War I, they did not get territory. It was either given to the Japanese or was taken by a Western European nation. And so this continued to contributed to the discontent going on in Chinese society. A lot of Chinese people didn't like their government and they preferred a different government. And these two individuals here are going to represent the two sides of this new government. You have the democratic side, you have the communist side, and there's people in society that support either one, and they're going to fight with each other over who should be in charge of this, the new China going forth. So the reason why some people liked, some particularly poor people liked the communist side under Mao is that and Chiang Kai-shek that's the English version of the other guy's name. Chiang Kai-shek on the left, Mao on the right. So the poor in particular felt like Chiang Kai-shek was just a puppet of Western influence and he was corrupt and he didn't care about them, and so they preferred to support the communist side. After all, communists were, the doctrine was to overthrow the social structure and give more authority and possessions and property to the poor. So this struggle is going on. They're fighting each other, like who's going to be in charge. The democratic government is in charge, but the communists are fighting against them. And they take a break because something interrupts their fighting. Sorry, let's go back real quick. This is the definition for vocab word 2, Mao Zedong. He's the leader of the Communist Party in China, so you can write that definition in. So they stopped fighting momentarily because the Japanese invaded. So these two sides, the nationalistic and communist forces in China, stopped fighting each other once the Japanese invaded. I guess they decided they hate the Japanese more than they do each other, so they set aside their differences and they fought together against the Japanese. So Japan was 4. There's 4 over there. I got ahead of myself. For number 5, this is an answer to number 5.